tonight?
There's so many messages going on. You've got so many influencers coming from so many different areas. You have government, you have private sector, you have public sector. I think that the biggest underlying theme is everybody has a desire to actually move the needle. And this dialogue that took place today, the humanitarian war, Dr. Portak and Paul Polman and these people coming together, I think is a step, a major leap in the right direction, which is trying to get what's localized influencers together to make one or two singleized initiatives happen. You know, we saw Dan Hess, Paul Polman, Sergio from the Public Foundation, a number of different people in the seat today. And each of them had different messages. And I found it really fascinating the different avenues and the different directions they take to accomplish the same goal. Actually, you know what one of the most fascinating parts is behind the scenes. I mean, we're seeing the award ceremony today, but you know, Paul Polman spoke at Davos. He's spoken at the United Nations. He chairs one of the big SDG initiatives at the UN.
It was pretty impressive, yes.
It was very impressive. But I guess the thing that really wasn't talked about today is why they're doing this. Like, what is it why is Paul Polman involved? Why is Unilever getting involved with public policy? And I think they've come to the realization that people are sick of hearing politicians talk about initiatives, about ideals and activism and a utopic environment. You know, the people who actually have all the power have realized, you know, those officials that are creating those policies realize that they'd rather hear from CEOs of private corporations than the policymakers, because the corporations actually act and do what they say, where the public servants have their initiatives and agendas, but with no accountability behind it. And corporations can't follow that same path. They have to execute. Otherwise, they see a loss in the capital markets. They see, sentiment and shareholder value drops.
That's a great point, because one of the things Paul said, he said, and he echoes what you're saying about the political environment. We're hearing it in the political rhetoric literally everywhere. But in the end, it's going to come down to business. And if we set an agenda in place and we set the conditions in place where business can do their job, it's actually going to be profitable.
At the end of the day, it's, I think a lot of the politicians mean well with what they're doing, but they don't have the capability, the resources, the wherewithal to actually turn what would be a private sector initiative into a public sector initiative. It actually has to come from the private sector. And guys like Paul Polman saying, listen, we can still do business, make money, and do good through the process. We don't need to create a whole bunch of waste. We don't need to be inefficient. We can be efficient.
Right, things just don't get done. But within the world of business, it is about the bottom line. And if you create a better product, and in this case, a better world, people will pay for it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at Apple's a great example of this. Apple is a highly efficient organization that actually came up with a product that was better, faster, more efficient, required less resources, but was 5 times the cost of their competitor, which would be Microsoft. They became the biggest corporation in the world with only 6% market share. A 6% market share, because people believed in what Apple was doing. And if we can get that same sentiment wrapped around social impact and businesses that do voluntary, you know, emissions testing and those sorts of things versus hiding what their carbon footprints are, you're going to find people are going to believe in those corporations. They're going to spend more money with those corporations. They're going to be more profitable. The first ones to the line are going to benefit the most from it.
Okay.